United States, Chicago. What happens when a black doctor who has spent years saving lives is denied respect simply because of his race? His battle against discrimination in healthcare becomes a fight that will change the system forever. Dr. Marcus Harris, a highly skilled and respected surgeon, has worked tirelessly at one of Chicago's top hospitals. He has spent years honing his craft, performing life-saving surgeries, and earning the trust and admiration of his colleagues and patients. Yet, despite being one of the most qualified surgeons in his field, Dr. Harris is routinely passed over for promotions and denied recognition for his work. He watches as less experienced doctors, many of whom are white, are given the positions and accolades he deserves. It is a frustrating and painful experience. He knows his abilities, his skills, and his contributions, but he is constantly overlooked simply because of the color of his skin. The discrimination doesn't stop at the hands of his colleagues. Dr. Harris faces constant racial bias from patients as well. His credentials are frequently questioned, and his abilities are overlooked, even when he's the most qualified doctor in the room. On more than one occasion, patients have refused to be treated by him, citing his race as the reason for their refusal. It's a stark reminder that no matter how accomplished he is, no matter how much he has dedicated his life to medicine, his race is always seen as a barrier to his success. These experiences begin to wear on him, and though he remains professional and focused on his patients, he can't shake the feeling that the system is working against him. Despite the racism he faces, Dr. Harris continues to excel in his work. His dedication to his patients and his craft never falters. But the internal struggle becomes too much to bear when a high-profile patient refuses treatment from him because of his race. This incident becomes the tipping point for Dr. Harris. He can no longer stand by and quietly accept the racial biases that permeate the very institution he has devoted his life to. It's not just about one patient. It's about the systemic racism within the healthcare system that has kept him from reaching his full potential and has caused harm to countless other black doctors and patients who have faced similar treatment. Dr. Harris realizes that if he doesn't take action now, the cycle of racial discrimination will continue, not just for him, but for future generations of black doctors. After much contemplation, Dr. Harris decides to confront the issue head-on. He files a lawsuit against the hospital, accusing it of racial discrimination. The legal battle begins, and the stakes are high. The healthcare industry, especially within prestigious institutions, has long been resistant to confronting its own biases. But as the case unfolds, Dr. Harris's fight gains national attention. His story becomes emblematic of the struggles faced by many black professionals, particularly in fields like medicine, where racial bias can have deadly consequences. The courtroom drama unfolds as Dr. Harris's case reveals the deadly consequences of racial bias in healthcare. The evidence is damning as more stories of discrimination within the hospital come to light. The case is not just about one doctor's fight for respect. It's about exposing a deeply ingrained culture of bias that has affected not only the careers of black doctors, but also the quality of care provided to black patients. Dr. Harris's courage and determination to take a stand against the system inspire countless others to come forward and share their own stories of racial discrimination in healthcare. As the legal battle rages on, Dr. Harris finds himself at the center of a larger movement for change in the healthcare system. The impact of his actions will be felt for generations to come, as his fight against racial bias challenges the very structure of the healthcare industry. What would you do if you were in a situation where your qualifications were ignored because of your race? Dr. Harris has been a top surgeon for years, with countless successful surgeries and a stellar reputation in his field. His career has been a testament to his dedication, his skills, and his passion for healing. Over the years, he has earned the respect of his colleagues, and his patients trust him implicitly. He is known for his precision, his calm under pressure, and his ability to save lives when others might falter. Yet, despite his accomplishments, his colleagues, especially those in leadership positions, refuse to recognize his contributions. Dr. Harris's name is rarely mentioned when promotions are discussed, and when opportunities for advancement arise, he is often overlooked in favor of others. This consistent disregard for his efforts has become a painful and exhausting reality. No matter how hard he works or how many lives he saves, Dr. Harris is repeatedly passed over for roles that he is not only qualified for, but excels in. He knows that his race is the only explanation for this discrepancy, and that realization stings with every ignored opportunity. The hospital administrators seem to favor less qualified individuals for leadership roles, and Dr. Harris is often excluded from key projects. This exclusion is not just a small oversight. It is a systematic effort to limit his involvement and suppress his potential. He watches as colleagues with less experience or qualifications are given responsibilities that should rightfully be his. The sense of injustice is palpable, yet it's difficult to confront. He's aware that challenging the system could have repercussions, but the weight of seeing others benefit from his hard work is becoming unbearable. Dr. Harris has always tried to keep his head down, work hard, and let his results speak for themselves. But as the years go on, the fact that his work is not being acknowledged becomes harder to ignore. Patients frequently express doubt about his abilities, with many even refusing his treatment due to his race, citing preferences for white doctors instead. This has become one of the most painful aspects of his career. The trust he has worked so hard to build is undermined by his race, and he finds himself explaining his credentials and capabilities far too often. On more than one occasion, patients have requested to be assigned to a white doctor, citing racial preferences. It's a stark and painful reminder that no matter how many lives he saves or how well respected he is in his field, his race is seen as a barrier to providing quality care. The emotional toll is difficult to quantify. Dr. Harris has spent years building his reputation, yet the biases of others constantly chip away at it. The irony isn't lost on him. He's in a field dedicated to saving lives, yet his own worth and potential are constantly in question because of something he cannot change. Frustrated and disheartened, Dr. Harris begins to see the depth of racial bias in the system he has dedicated his life to. He realizes that this is not just about him. This is a systemic issue that affects many black doctors, nurses, and healthcare professionals who face similar challenges. The healthcare system, one of the most trusted institutions in the country, is deeply flawed when it comes to addressing racial bias. The barriers Dr. Harris faces are not just the result of individual prejudices. They are ingrained in the very structure of the system. This realization becomes the tipping point for him. He can no longer remain silent or passive in the face of these injustices. Dr. Harris knows that in order to bring about real change, he must challenge the system directly. It's in this moment of clarity that Dr. Harris decides to take action. He begins documenting the instances of racial bias he has faced and starts speaking to his colleagues about the changes that need to be made. his decision to take action is not just for himself. It's for the countless others who are suffering in silence. He begins the difficult journey of confronting the institutionalized racism that has permeated his profession. It's a daunting path, but one he knows must be walked in order to create lasting change. Have you ever had to fight against bias or discrimination in a profession you love? What steps did you take? After years of enduring microaggressions and subtle racism, Dr. Harris finally decides to take action, filing a lawsuit against the hospital for racial discrimination. The decision is not one he makes lightly. He has worked tirelessly throughout his career, dedicating his life to saving others. But now he is facing an injustice that no amount of hard work or talent seems to be able to overcome. The racism he has encountered, both from colleagues and patients, has worn him down over the years. He has tried to be patient, hoping that his excellence in the operating room and his dedication to patient care would speak for itself. But it hasn't. His achievements have been repeatedly overlooked, his career stagnated, and his contributions minimized. The more he endures, the more it becomes clear. The system is broken, and his race is the reason he has not been able to advance. His decision to sue the hospital is not just for himself. It is for every person of color who has been overlooked or mistreated within the healthcare system. He meets with a lawyer specializing in civil rights cases who agrees to represent him and believes in the significance of his case. The lawyer listens to Dr. Harris's story with empathy, but also with a clear understanding of the broader implications this case could have. Racial discrimination in healthcare is an ongoing issue, one that has long been swept under the rug. Dr. Harris's case could shine a light on these practices and spark change within the industry. The lawyer explains the complexities of the legal process to Dr. Harris, making it clear that they have a long road ahead. It's not just about proving Dr. Harris's individual case. It's about challenging the deeply ingrained systems of racism that exist within the healthcare system as a whole. Dr. Harris feels a sense of relief, but also an overwhelming sense of responsibility. He is no longer just fighting for himself. He is fighting for the future of every Black healthcare professional and patient who has been subjected to similar injustices. Dr. Harris's decision to speak out puts his career on the line, but he knows it's the only way to address the systemic racism he's faced. He has reached a breaking point where silence is no longer an option. The fear of retaliation, the anxiety over his reputation, and the potential fallout from his colleagues weigh heavily on him. But he knows that staying silent would mean allowing the status quo to continue, and that is something he can no longer accept. He understands the risks. This lawsuit could cost him his job, his professional relationships, and his standing in the medical community. But it could also lead to meaningful change. He is willing to sacrifice everything for the chance to expose the truth and create a better future for those who follow in his footsteps. The hospital retaliates quickly, hiring a top-tier legal team to discredit Dr. Harris and downplay his accusations. They are a powerful institution with vast resources, and they will stop at nothing to protect their reputation. The legal team uses every tactic in the book to undermine Dr. Harris's claims, attacking his credibility and attempting to paint him as a disgruntled employee. The firm is determined to dismiss his case as just another baseless complaint from an unhappy worker. The battle becomes more heated, and Dr. Harris feels the pressure mounting. The psychological toll of the legal proceedings is immense, but his resolve remains strong. The more the hospital's legal team tries to discredit him, the more determined he becomes to see the case through. As the legal proceedings begin, the stakes are high, both for Dr. Harris and for the healthcare industry at large. Dr. Harris is no longer just fighting for his own career. He's fighting to bring systemic change to an entire industry. His case has the potential to expose the deeply rooted racial biases in healthcare and start a larger conversation about how racial discrimination impacts patients and healthcare professionals alike. His courage and determination to speak out have made him a beacon of hope for others who have faced similar injustices but were too afraid to take action. Do you think it's worth putting everything on the line to fight for justice, even when the odds are against you? The courtroom is tense as Dr. Harris steps up to testify, his expression a mixture of resolve and weariness. He has been through countless challenges, and now he is standing at the threshold of something much larger than his own fight. His heart pounds, but his voice is steady as he prepares to speak the truth that he has been holding in for years. The room goes quiet as he takes the stand, and the weight of the moment settles around him. His hands may be shaking, but his mind is clear. He knows what he has to do. This is not just about him. It's about changing the system, about making sure that the next generation of black doctors doesn't face the same struggles he has. Judge, Dr. Harris, you've made serious accusations against a respected institution. How do you explain your claims of racial discrimination? Dr. Harris, with a calm yet firm voice. Your Honor, my record speaks for itself. I've dedicated my life to healing others, but my race has consistently been used as a barrier to my success. He feels the weight of those words as they leave his lips, knowing that this is just the beginning. He looks out at the courtroom, his eyes meeting the judges, the juries, and even the opposing counsels. He feels an overwhelming sense of responsibility, not just to himself, but to every black doctor, every person who has faced racial bias and discrimination. His words are not just about him. They are about everyone who has been overlooked and undervalued because of their race. The judge's stern gaze softens slightly, but he presses on. But without official complaints or documentation, how can we trust these claims? Why has no one else come forward? The judge's voice carries the skepticism of someone who has heard countless claims, but never truly confronted the depths of racial discrimination that permeate industries like healthcare. Dr. Harris knows that the judge is simply asking the questions that many in the room are too afraid to ask, but he doesn't flinch. He is ready. Dr. Harris takes a deep breath, his voice filled with emotion, because this culture of racism is hidden in plain sight. It's not always loud. It's in the dismissive comments, the overlooked accomplishments, the patients who ask for someone more experienced because they don't trust a black doctor. He feels his chest tighten as he speaks, but he pushes forward. He knows this is the moment when everything changes. His words are raw, but they are the truth. The room is still as his testimony sinks in. The years of hard work, of being ignored and sidelined, have built up to this moment. The courtroom is silent. Dr. Harris's words resonate deeply, and even some of the opposing counsel appear uneasy. His lawyer, a seasoned professional who has been with him every step of the way, watches carefully. They know that this is the tipping point. Dr. Harris has spoken the truth, and now it's time for the evidence to back up those words. His lawyer rises, presenting evidence, emails from hospital staff and patients, testimonies from colleagues who witnessed the discrimination, and records of his exceptional performance that were consistently ignored. The evidence is irrefutable, and yet the opposing counsel tries to deflect, attempting to downplay the significance of the documents. But it's clear the tide is turning. The defense can no longer ignore the facts that Dr. Harris and his team are presenting. The case is no longer just about his experience, it's about systemic change. And in this moment, the courtroom has become the battleground for that change. As the evidence continues to mount, Dr. Harris feels a mixture of relief and determination. This case is not just about winning. It's about exposing a system that has failed so many for so long. He knows that this fight is bigger than just one man. It is about a larger movement, one that will continue long after the verdict is read. Dr. Harris's courage has sparked something, and it's clear that the conversation around race and discrimination in healthcare is about to change. What do you think is the most impactful way to fight a system that perpetuates discrimination? The hospital agrees to a settlement with Dr. Harris, offering compensation, and agreeing to overhaul their hiring and promotion practices. This settlement is not only a personal victory for Dr. Harris, but a recognition of the years of discrimination he faced in silence. For Dr. Harris, the compensation is a step toward justice, but it's the hospital's commitment to change that carries even more weight. The decision to reform the hospital's practices, particularly in regard to how Black professionals are treated, signals that the institution is beginning to acknowledge the harm it has caused, not just to Dr. Harris, but to countless others who have been overlooked or mistreated because of their race. This settlement marks the beginning of a new era for the hospital, one in which they will be held accountable for their actions, and where systemic bias will no longer be tolerated. Dr. Harris's case becomes a landmark moment in healthcare, sparking nationwide discussions about racial bias in medicine and leading to widespread reforms. His decision to speak out and take legal action has ignited a movement in the healthcare industry, where issues of racial bias have often been swept under the rug. As news of the settlement spreads, the case becomes a touchstone for those who have faced similar experiences but were too afraid or discouraged to speak out. His courage inspires other Black professionals in healthcare and other fields to come forward with their own stories, creating a ripple effect of awareness and action. The media picks up the story and public opinion shifts as more people realize the extent of the issue. This is no longer just a case about one doctor. It is a case that speaks to the systemic problems facing Black professionals across the nation. Other hospitals and medical institutions begin to follow suit, reevaluating their practices and addressing racial disparities within their organizations. As Dr. Harris's case continues to be discussed in the media, healthcare organizations are forced to confront the uncomfortable truths about their own internal cultures. They realize that if they want to remain credible and trustworthy, they must take tangible steps to create a more inclusive environment. Several prominent medical institutions announce that they are revising their hiring and promotion policies, implementing diversity training programs, and setting measurable goals for increasing the representation of Black professionals at all levels. These changes, though small in comparison to the scale of the problem, represent a significant step toward addressing the deep-rooted inequalities that have long plagued the healthcare system. Dr. Harris's case has set a precedent, and now the spotlight is on the industry as a whole to make meaningful and lasting changes. Dr. Harris's courageous decision to take legal action has brought about real change in an industry that has long been resistant to recognizing the contributions of Black professionals. His bravery has not only forced a hospital to reckon with its own biases, but has also created a broader conversation about the experiences of Black professionals in every industry. Dr. Harris's case is a beacon of hope for those who have faced discrimination but felt powerless to challenge the system. His willingness to risk everything for justice has shown that one individual can make a difference, and his victory has inspired many others to follow in his footsteps. The courage to confront a broken system, to stand up for what's right, and to demand change is something that will resonate for years to come. As the healthcare system begins to change, Dr. Harris reflects on how far he has come. His journey has not been easy, and he knows that the work is far from over. But he takes pride in knowing that his actions have created lasting change. Dr. Harris's story is a reminder that change is possible, even in industries that have long resisted it. He has proven that, no matter the odds, it's worth fighting for justice. How do you think, Doctor? Harris's story will inspire other Black professionals facing discrimination in their careers. How can his example motivate others to take action, even when it seems like the system is too powerful to challenge? In the final scene, Dr. Harris stands before a crowd of supporters, reflecting on his long journey from being overlooked to becoming a catalyst for change. His heart swells as he looks out at the crowd, feeling the weight of his battle and the victory it has brought. For so long, he had been an invisible presence in the medical field, his accomplishments overshadowed, his potential ignored, all because of the color of his skin. But now, as he stands before a crowd that recognizes his struggles and his triumphs, Dr. Harris feels a sense of pride and validation that he has long been denied. His journey has been arduous, filled with moments of doubt and frustration, but today he stands tall, knowing that his fight was worth it. The path he has forged has not only changed his life, but has created a ripple effect that will continue to spread throughout the medical field and beyond. He speaks of the importance of using his voice to confront injustice, knowing that his battle was not just for himself, but for the future of Black doctors everywhere. "I fought for myself, yes," he says, his voice steady and strong, "but I fought for all of us, those who have been pushed aside, those who have been silenced, and those who will come after me. This fight is bigger than just one person. It is a fight for the future of Black professionals in this country." The crowd responds with applause, their support and admiration palpable. Dr. Harris's words resonate deeply with everyone present, as they understand that the fight he has undertaken is not just a personal one. It is a fight for justice, for equality, and for the recognition that every person deserves, no matter their race. The case has inspired countless individuals in all industries to stand up for their rights and demand equal treatment, creating a ripple effect that will continue to spread for generations. As Dr. Harris's story has gained widespread attention, it has become a beacon of hope for others who have faced similar discrimination, but felt too afraid or disempowered to speak out. His courage has sparked a nationwide conversation about racial inequality in the workplace, particularly in fields where Black professionals have long been underrepresented or overlooked. His story has given voice to those who have been silenced, and his victory has shown them that it is possible to challenge the status quo and bring about real change. The ripple effect of Dr. Harris's actions has inspired individuals across all sectors, medicine, law, education, business, to take action in their own careers and fight for the equal treatment they deserve. Dr. Harris looks to the future with renewed hope, knowing that his fight has sparked a movement for justice that will live on. As he reflects on his journey, he knows that the work is far from over, but he also knows that things are changing. The healthcare system is beginning to acknowledge the biases that have plagued it for so long, and Dr. Harris's case has set a precedent for other medical institutions to follow. He understands that real change takes time, but the seeds of transformation have been planted. His case has become a rallying cry for those who have faced racial discrimination, and it has paved the way for future generations of Black professionals to thrive in their careers without the barriers that Dr. Harris had to face. Dr. Harris's victory is not just his own. It is a victory for all who have faced the same struggles, for those who have fought and continue to fight for a fair and just system. As he stands before the crowd, he knows that his fight has made a difference, not just in the healthcare industry, but in the lives of countless individuals who have been inspired to take a stand. His legacy will live on through the changes he has inspired, through the voices he has helped amplify, and through the countless lives that will be better for it. What changes do you think need to happen in the healthcare system to make it more inclusive and just?